I'm Eric Barnes at the Daily Memphian, and welcome to The Sidebar, a weekly show on the community, arts, culture, and more. Today we're talking to Jeff Hulett, musician, and many other things here in Memphis. So stay with us for a conversation with Jeff. Jeff, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Friend of the show, but I was thinking that I'd had you on the show before, but maybe...
Nope, never been on the show,
Really?
but I do listen, and I, like we were talking about, I pitch you guys a lot of different stories, working with different nonprofits. I have been on Sound Bites, yep.
Okay. All right, maybe I got it. It's interesting, because we do talk all the time on
And
that.
I've been on, other kind of WYXR shows and things.
But I was convinced that you had been on the show a few years ago, and I was looking through my old notes, and I was like, he's never been on the show. We've never talked about music.
First timer.
First time, long time. I don't know that I've ever said that, but it was fun. But we're here today because you have an album that just came out. We're going to talk about music, but also you do work with nonprofits, and that's where you've worked with us in pitching ideas and shows to us over the years, and which we appreciate immensely. But first and foremost, congratulations. Album just came out.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Jeff Hulett and the Hand-Me-Downs, Little Windows. It's an 8-song, full-length LP. You can get it at Shangri-La Records. It's streaming. It's in all the places. It's on Bandcamp at Small Batch Records. It's kind of a small label that I'm a part of to collaborate with. And full band, I'm singing and playing guitar. As you know, I played drums in Snow Globe. And years ago, I stepped out from behind the drum kit and started writing songs. And my band is great. It's Jacob and Ben Church, who are brothers. And Lee Salmons plays drums. And Jonathan Schallert, who actually teaches at Crosstown, music teacher, plaes keyboards.
And we're sitting here looking at an actual album that you were nice enough to bring me, which thank you so much. And it has, and this is, serious fans of the Sidebar will know that when we talk about music, I talk about how much I miss liner notes. And so as we were getting ready, I took the cellophane off and went up and I was like, yes, there are liner notes for every song.
No,
a little
totally.
track listing, a little bit about it. Like it's one of the things I miss most with streaming is you just don't get that visceral sort of, oh, look at this. I didn't know Jeff Beck played on that album 100 years ago. Like,
and
those little discoveries.
I know you're a big music guy. I know we've talked a lot about shows we've seen and whatnot. And when I was kind of pulling this all together, a great graphic designer, Karen Mulford, did all the art, and she had to kind of place all of the liner notes and whatnot. And I just didn't realize how much space I had. I was like, I have to say stuff and be poetic. Because like you said, normally it's just nothing. It's just like you put it out on Spotify, you put it out on, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Apple, whatever. And then it's gone. It's out. But being able to do this and have a full, completed, I guess, thought, a theme, is really special. So we had a big show a few weeks ago at the Cove, and it's now available, and
that's amazing.
We're very excited.
And recorded here as I read off the liner notes, which again makes me so happy. It was recorded at Jacob Church's home studio on Carr Avenue, right?
That's
in
right.
Central Gardens.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome. Yeah, he kind of turned his second floor into a studio, and it is just fantastic. We kind of cut the drums first and kind of built from there. I did a scratch kind of guitar and vocal part, and then we got the drums, and then I kind of did the real part, and then we started layering, and then my favorite part is kind of towards the tail end where you're able to overdub and add let's add trumpet here. What about melodica? Sure. It's what about extra harmonies? You can really throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
This is, give or take, how many albums have you been part of in various bands?
Oh man, a lot. When the pandemic started, I kind of went crazy. Yeah. I just started recording and writing and just never stopped. So I've probably put out since the pandemic at least 8.
Wow.
Albums. Some are 6 songs, some are 12, some are 4. A lot of different compilations. We do this thing every Halloween where we cover. They're Halloween adjacent songs. This last October, we did Bad Moon Rising. Okay. And then we did Wicked Game by Chris Isaak.
Yeah.
It's not really a Halloween song, but you get the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we're about to drop a Christmas holiday compilation.
Yeah.
And that's always fun. So we kind of have a little orbit of players and musicians and folks that I've been with and played with for years that like to get in the mix.
And you mentioned Snow Globe. People know you from Snow Globe. They love Snow Globe.
Yeah.
The band is status there.
Status there, Snow Globe right now, we're kind of just, we released like a full length and like an EP like together back in the spring, and that was like a long time coming. And since that came out, we're all just like, it's out. That's great. People should go check it out. It's called The Fall. It's called The Climb. I think I always get it mixed up. The full length is The Fall and the EP is The Climb. And it's really, really great, I think. And it's like so many people play on it, and it's like, it's a menagerie of Memphis music, and it sounds great. And it's streaming. You know, you can get it on Spotify and iTunes and Apple and all that good stuff.
And again, I'll remind everybody we're here with Jeff Hulett, whose album, Jeff Hulett and the Hand-Me-Downs, Little Windows, just came out. You can get it wherever. You can get the album, which we're looking at here, or you can stream it. For you, like, what is your preferred way that people buy? Or do you have a preferred way?
Oh, wow. I know that LPs and vinyl is not an every time thing. So I really pressed the flesh, like did a 7-inch and 21 that we recorded at Sun, 2 songs. So definitely prefer it when people buy the vinyl, the 7-inch or the LP. But, you know, I just like it when people listen and are engaged. You know? Like for me, it's enough when I get a text. It's like, can't make your show, but I've already listened to your album 4 times and I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yes, success.
Right.
You know, just want to know that people are out there and they're enjoying it as much as we enjoyed making it.
Yeah.
You know.
So you're not, like, not to stir anything up, but, you know, some people are really anti the streaming thing. A lot of artists are.
Sure.
I mean, I guess, do you go there, or do you just kind of
I'm
enjoy
such a
people
small
listening?
potato. Yeah. Like, honestly, for me, like, I should probably have more of a stance on it, but it allows me to have more access to platforms to share music.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Like, I did like this interview for this guy that has a blog in England, and he was asking me all sorts of questions about it. And one of my answers was something like, it's not lost on me that I'm like a 45-year-old dad that runs his own small business. Like, music is very important to me, and doing this is very important to me, but I also like, and I'll never stop doing it. But it's also just like, it's not everything.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's fair and understandable. One of the things I was thinking about with the albums, and I don't know why, I was watching something, but the whole idea, like, of listening to the whole side of an album.
Yeah. Right.
And there was this, you know, that whole notion that for a generation of people, it's just, what is Eric talking about? You know, that you would go get this album and listen to the whole side with some sense of coherence and continuity. I mean, and I assume you think about that.
I do.
As you're putting the songs together and the track order and what's going on the first side, what's going on the second, all that.
No, 100%. And there was definitely different sort of lineups of songs and how things flowed, and we landed on this, and I think it works well. But to your larger point, like, I have kids and they love Taylor Swift, and we have a lot of Taylor Swift vinyl.
Yeah.
So it's awesome
that's
for
great.
them
yes.
to flip the record and go to the other side. And it's not just like, hey, can we hear Shake It Off again? Yeah. It's like, no, like, let's listen to Taylor's 1989 version, her version, flip the side, right? You know,
Natalie Van Gundy, happy face.
Yeah, and then now that the holidays are here, we got a bunch of holiday vinyl, and it's like fun for them to be engaged and like, hey, Beatrice, can you flip that record for me? You know, it's fun.
It is fun. There's the tactile part of it, all of that. You'll have. Did I see too? There's a music video that came out. Like, how does that all come about? Like,
I mean, I guess you know as well as I do. Like, you know, running Daily Memphian is like, content is everything. You got to have content. You got to have video. You got to have poll quotes. You got to have all this sort of stuff. So part of the thing with the videos is I like to make it fun. Like, I usually tap somebody, like an old friend, like Jake Vest, who's an expat of Memphis. He did a video for the song Let Go of the Letdown. He took some old, like, kind of like river imagery and people like jumping into like wild rapids and like, and then my friend Chris Weary from New York, expat of Memphis, he did a video which is super weird and awesome for spinning plates. And like, and occasionally I'll do something and make something. But having something like, I like lyric videos, it's like where it's just like someone is seeing kind of a static sort of video thing, but then they're seeing the words on the screen. So I got a couple of those. YouTube, Jeff Hulett, YouTube.
Yeah.
All that stuff is out there. But it's nice to have something else to share than otherwise be like, hey, buy my record.
Yeah.
It's a fine line, right?
But it reminds me, and I guess because it's being sold, when I saw that you had these videos, and then it reminded me because MTV's being sold, and they just did this round of layoffs, and we're old enough to remember, I don't know if Natalie's old enough to remember, that MTV was the biggest thing in the world, for better or worse.
The best
it was
thing
just,
in the world.
it was biggest, best, like crazy.
So much.
Natalie learned so much. Okay, so.
Like, I wouldn't be such a huge fan of like Depeche Mode if it wasn't for MTV.
What is it like that? Like, what's your take on why MTV is utterly irrelevant?
It's shocking. It's kind of like, in a weird way, it's kind of like, oh yeah, there's no more Toys R Us or Blockbuster.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
yeah.
oh, Bed Bath & Beyond is no more. It's like you look around and it's like these ghost towns of like,
right.
Of these things that were so prevalent in my past.
Yeah.
In your past too, I guess. It's like, it's just bizarre.
It's almost, I mean, the Blockbuster ones, that's definitely, I guess that's the most parallel, because you can get all this music video on YouTube and TikTok, and there's video, but you just look and think, like, who and why made a series of decisions that the groundbreaking relevant source of music and video would become so utterly irrelevant. And it wasn't, like Blockbuster was a change in platform, right? Of videos and then DVDs, and then, we could get them mailed, and then we could get them streaming. People are still, there could be the most amazing set of MTV music channels within YouTube. But they lost all that.
Yeah, they totally lost it. They did. They lost it. I mean, MTV was so important, to those artists back then, and to me as a kid back then. And if you remember, Snow Globe was in Craig Brewer's $5 cover.
Right.
On MTV. That seemed to be one of like MTV's last gasps at trying to, do something melded with music and reality TV, because it wasn't like a real story, but it was fun. It was great. It's good. People should go check it out if they can find it. A $5 cover. But yeah, and then it just went the way of road rules for no reason, like, whoa. And then what's that thing? Jersey Shore. Like, it's just like, I will explain to my kids probably at some point, like, there was this whole channel on cable TV, which meant something different than it does now too, that was so powerful.
It's remarkable. Like, a friend of the show, Leslie Thompson, also my girlfriend, we'll talk about it. Was it 120?
Full disclosure.
Friend of the show.
Yeah.
Big friend of the show. Was it 120 minutes, the Sunday show?
Yeah.
I mean, that was like would show music you couldn't get on
Smashing Pumpkins,
anywhere.
Just tons of kind of indie stuff before it was, Anyway.
Did y'all ever watch TRL?
Total Request Live. That was a little bit past me, but yeah.
Wait, no, I did
Carson
not watch
Daly.
Total Request Live. I think I was busy raising children. No, don't take this out. You're under orders.
It's classic.
Your annual review is coming up, Natalie.
Yeah.
Don't take this out. We'll come back to music. We'll continue talking here with Jeff Hulett, but I'll do some housekeeping and remind everyone, I'm Eric Barnes, and this is The Sidebar. It airs on WYXR 91.7 every Thursday at 11:30, focused on the community, arts, culture, everything in between. Not just a radio show, though. It's one of many weekly podcasts we do at the Daily Memphian, including the Memphis Grizzlies podcast, hosted by Drew Hill and Chris Harrington. Our Memphis Tiger podcast is back. John Martin, Parth, Frank, all on there with lots going on. Big fan here in Jeff Hulett of the Tigers. And we also have Soundbites, hosted by Jennifer Chandler, which airs on WYXR every Thursday at 11 and is also a podcast. We also host the podcast version of Behind the Headlines, which is the TV show we produce with the folks at WKNO every week. You can get that on Daily Memphian as well. And all of our podcasts are on the Daily Memphian site, as well as iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get the two WYXR shows, this one and Soundbites, on WYXR.org or on the WYXR app. And that includes all the archives of the shows, both music and talk, that WYXR puts on every day, every week. Do consider becoming a supporter of WYXR. It's nonprofit, listener-supported radio. You can become a member, get all kinds of benefits, or you can become just do a one-off donation. And we've got coming up this week, Raised by Sound Fest is happening at Crosstown, where we're recording, actually, up on the 10th floor. And that you can go to Raised by Sound Fest, Google it, or go to WYXR.org and get more information about a set of free shows and after parties and all kinds of stuff going on as part of Raised by Sound Fest. Also, I should note, if you're not a paid subscriber to the Daily Memphian, do consider becoming one. We are the largest newsroom in the area, and we are a nonprofit. So paid subscriptions pay for most everything. We also have a big year-end campaign of donations, which helps fill the gaps on what we do at the Daily Memphian. Coming up in the next few weeks on the sidebar, Anthony Young from Epicenter, maybe Todd Richardson from Crosstown. We'll definitely get him on in the next few weeks to talk a bit about the new venue that's opening that they announced with Live Nation right across the street from Crosstown. It's still Crosstown land, and all kinds of other stuff going on at Crosstown. So we should be getting Todd on here in the next few weeks. Recently, we had George Abbott talking about the Civic Commons. Why is Natalie laughing at me? She's laughing. She's giggling at me.
Crosstown land, and it sounded like an amusement park.
It's Crosstown land, featuring Depeche Mode and
The Cure.
The Cure. Thank you very much. Recently on the sidebar, we had George Abbott talking about the Civic Commons. We also had Marilyn Mack, the relatively new executive director of Memphis Botanic Garden. We mentioned behind the headlines this week. We've got a roundtable with local journalists coming up this week. We recently had a roundtable talking with some folks about workforce, most of them from the U of M, very interesting. And we had a really great conversation about the very difficult situation that MATA faces with their interim CEO, Bakara Malden, who was great to come on and talk about a problem many years and decades in the making and where they're trying to go from here. You can get all those as either at the Daily Memphian as video, on YouTube as video, at WKNO, or you can download them as podcasts. Last but not least, today, if you're listening to this on Thursday as it airs, today at 3 p.m. at Memphis Botanic Garden, we have our commercial real estate year in review event. Rick Shadiak from ALSAC will be talking about all the massive amount of construction investment that St. Jude is making in Memphis. We'll also have industry overviews of various, the office market, commercial, not residential really, but multifamily, all those sorts of things. That'll be today at 3 p.m. If you're listening to this later and you missed it, you can get the video of that at YouTube. Just search for Daily Memphian on YouTube, and you'll be able to get the video of Rick and the panel and Q&A and all that kind of stuff. But we are here with Jeff Hulett talking about, among other things, his new album, Jeff Hulett and the Hand-Me-Downs. The album's called Little Windows. You can get it in vinyl at Shangri-La. You can stream it wherever you stream. Other places you can buy vinyl.
I need to get it over to Goner, and
okay.
I need to do some more work on that.
People
can
Jeff.
dial direct with me.
Yeah,
honestly,
okay.
Find me online, on Instagram at Dad on Arrival, or Facebook, Jeff Hulett Music, and I'll get you a copy.
I could talk about MTV because I just find it fascinating for another 10 minutes, but we only have 10 more minutes. So I mentioned the new venue that was announced in the last week or so, the partnership with Live Nation and Crosstown. Crosstown obviously already has the green room. They have the theater. There's Minglewood. As a musician, what's your take on FedEx Forum is what it is, in terms of big venues, right? And the whole thing. But in terms of that mid-size, I think the theater here at Crosstown is 300-400 people.
Uh-huh.
The new venue.
I'll be there for Raised by Sound.
Jason
that's where Spaceman.
Yeah, there we go. The new venue is going to be about 1,300 seats. The partnership with Live Nation is potentially a really big deal.
Yeah.
It's going to a size that competes with Minglewood. How do you make sense of, if at all?
Yeah, I guess there's two ways to think about it. One is an artist and one is like a fan. As an artist, it's for me, I'm the smaller venue, the better. I like playing at DKDC or the Cove, where you get 50 people in there and it's feels like it's packed.
Yeah.
But in terms of a venue for bands that, are touring and bigger, one of my favorite shows I've seen was Arcade Fire at the Orpheum.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Or Bon Iver at the Orpheum. I've seen shows at Minglewood, MGMT, Bonnie Prince Billy, Neutral Milk Hotel when they did their reprisal tour a few years ago. I think the Live Nation thing has a lot of potential. We miss out on tons of tours. I'm always in and I know you are too, I'm always in communication with my friends in Nashville, Atlanta, Austin, all these like cities. Those bands aren't coming here.
Right.
You know, so.
And people don't understand. I mean, it's you may not like it, but it is a business. It's an industry, and Live Nation, just like Ticketmaster, and they're same company, they have immense control over things. And it all kind of reminds me when I hear people like, well, Live Nation, and they've ruined us, or they've done this, or they've done that. And it reminds me when, this is dating ourselves, when Pearl Jam went to war with Ticketmaster for years and didn't want tickets, and they lost because that's just the way it is. And so if you don't have this the theory is, and we'll see how it plays out, if you don't have this Live Nation partnership, I mean, even Little Rock, because of a Live Nation partnership, gets bands that skip over Memphis. Yeah. And it's less about, I mean, people will be like, well, that's because it's Memphis. It's more about, like, do you have that connection? In a lot of ways. Not
relational,
entirely,
right?
But that's a big part of it.
No, I think you're right. And I think most people know this about me. Like, I'm an optimist, so I'm hopeful. Yeah. I think that's the best I can say right now, is that I'm hopeful. Because like I said, I live in the neighborhood. How cool would it be to go to Crosstown Brewery? Oh, yeah. Get some wings, have a couple pints, walk over and see Beach House. Yeah. You know, or whoever. So. Right. And I think it is interesting. You talked about Orpheum, and I mean, some of the best shows I've seen, Robert Plant at the Orpheum was just ridiculous. I heard that was incredible. With Alison Krauss? It was the one actually with, I didn't go to the Alison Krauss one. It was the one with Band of Joy and Patty. I just drew a blank on her name. Amazing show, and it's an amazing venue. I saw Billy Corgan doing that acoustic and electric show in there. Oh my God. The Bon Iver show was like packed. I mean, there's this huge interest in some of this stuff that I think people who get negative don't. And Minglewood, I mean, I've seen a number of great shows there. The Mitchell Milk show and the Godspeed You Black Emperor show was incredible. Yeah. But I mean, they don't have those partnerships, and so it's like the world's not fair. No, totally. I mean, you make a valid point. It's really, and I don't know. I mean, somebody else needs to change it, but I just want to see shows in Memphis. I want to see shows in Memphis. So, I know somebody's mad at me, but that's kind of how I take it. Let's go back in time. How did you get into music? When did you start playing music? Sure. So I was 16 years old, and some friends at Houston High School said, come to the Antenna tonight. Our band, Fascist Frank and the German Brigade, is playing. Nice. Okay, what was that again? I said, Fascist Frank and the German Brigade. And I said, all right, fine, I'll go. And I went, and then my friend Davis was playing drums, and I was like, 2 weeks later, went to consignment on Park, bought a drum set, was in a band a month later, started writing, started playing, being in bands, started playing guitar around 21, and just never looked back. Yeah. But then, kind of a little bit later. 16. Later, for sure. Like 5th grade, trumpet, awful. Yeah, like the school band kind of thing. Just never really thought about it. I'm more of like, I still play like soccer and basketball and sports stuff. Like I was more of like a physical sort of guy. Like I still play kickball. I'm like, I got to move. Yeah. Maybe that's from having daughters, but who knows? But yeah, kind of a late bloomer, which maybe has served me well. Yeah. Because like I'm still just like so into it because it's still so new to me, I guess. In the drums, so you had to have very loving and supportive parents that would let you play the drums because not every parent would be okay with that. Yeah, they God bless them. Yeah, that was not fun, I'm sure. Robbie Grant, the head of WXR, musician, and friend of the show, great guy. He talked about how his mom was really cool and they would do band practice at his house, and she would let them keep all the instruments out there. Oh yeah. And so he would get to play everybody else's instruments. And that's how he kind of learned. And that's how he started learning everything and playing everything. And he said, my mom was just awesome that way. Like Ruth. She lives here across town. Yeah, I know her. Fantastic. I know her too. She's great. Yeah. A couple minutes left. Will you tour with this or play around town? Play around town, and then if the right opportunity happens, like maybe go to Oxford, maybe go to Little Rock, maybe go to like Wilson, Arkansas. You know, just around the area. Right. Yeah. Did you have a period where you were touring like in a van with Snow Globe was doing that? That was like that was I mean, we were younger, but it was still a grind. I mean, it was just
Was it
sleeping
sort of
on
just-
floors, and it was so much fun though. I mean, we were making $0. And
Yeah.
every night we'd take our $100 guarantee and we'd be like, what's it going to be tonight, boys? PBR or, High Life. And then we'd find a place to stay, but great memories and good times for sure.
Yeah. I've talked to lots of Steve Salvage has been on the show a few times, and he's really fun to talk about because he did that.
Yeah, totally.
And now is in a different place with the Hold Steady, he's kind of like,
Just like
I
a
don't,
dream.
Yeah, I know. He's like, I don't really miss the van. I mean, I got to be honest, I don't miss it.
Oh man, yeah. I look on at that and I'm like, that's the life, Steve. Yeah.
What else? What have you seen lately? In terms of, we were talking about music. What shows have you seen in the
what
last
have I
year,
seen?
the last months?
Well, I'm really into the new Cure record.
Oh,
which is amazing. And I saw them last summer, and that was like in Atlanta, and that was an amazing show. I really haven't been out lately to see any shows, but I am looking forward to seeing Jason Spaceman at Raised by Sound because I'm a big Spiritualized fan. So.
I'm really looking forward to it. I kind of don't no idea what I'm getting into. I've listened to a little Spiritualized.
Yeah.
I think I've seen the movie.
Yes, I think I've seen the movie too, so I don't know.
The movie is so dreamy.
Yes.
That it's hard to remember, like, did I watch the whole thing? Did I only see part of it?
Or was it a dream?
Was I under the influence of something and so I did watch the whole thing? Or no, I was just sitting there watching it and I felt like I was under the influence of something because the movie is so strange. And I can't really remember how that actually was. So I'm looking forward to it.
It should be a riot. It's going to be fun.
Should be good. That is Raised by Soundfest. People should know that's this weekend, and you can go to wyxr.org or search for Raised by Sound, and you can get info on there's some live shows that are free, some that are paid. There's an after party. There's all kinds of mix of stuff. So you need to take a look at that. What's next? I mean, you got another album that you're already starting to think about, or
I am working on an art show with my friend Alex Smythe, and he's doing the photography, the photographs, and I'm doing the music, and we do have a name for it. We don't have a date. It'll be in 2025, but it's called Emotions Without People.
Yeah.
And it's like he's doing photographs based on songs I've written. I'm doing songs based on photographs he's written.
Very cool.
And there'll be like a lot of like QR codes, and you're like standing in front. And
Yeah.
We're still working out like what it's going to be like, but I am really excited about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jeff Hulett, people, again, the album is Jeff Hulett and the Hand-Me-Downs. It's Little Windows. You can stream it. You can get it at Shangri-La. Soon, you'll be able to get it at Goner Records when you get off and get out there.
Get over there.
No.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much
for
for
I've
having
never
me.
asked you. Wait, last one. I almost forgot. First show you ever saw. First concert you ever saw.
Oh, gosh. First show I ever saw might have been the Beach Boys in Germantown at like maybe the Horse Show, like when I was like 11.
See, that's kind of, technically
like
probably the first show I walked by at the Puyallup Western Washington Fair out in Washington State, and the Beach Boys were playing, and they were way over there, and I might have been like 6.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the first show you maybe spent your own money to go, I'm going to that show.
The Cure.
Oh, that's good.
In Nashville.
That's really
It was
good.
an outdoor amphitheater. I think it was called like the Star something.
Did you live up there or were you here?
I lived in Memphis. We were all in
went up
high
there.
school, and we're going to get a hotel.
Yeah.
You know? It was a motel.
It's
A seedy motel.
not even a
and
Super
I think
8
we
or a
like
Motel
smoked
6.
cigars and thought we were cool.
You were cool.
We were
Very
so cool.
There's nothing
Yeah.
so cool as
Yeah.
a really smelly
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
cigar.
Oh, God.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's all the time we have this week. Jeff Hulett, thanks for being here. If you missed any of the
Thanks,
show,
y'all.
you can get the full episode at WYXR, the Daily Memphian, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next week.